my guest sent, and I'll waste no time because he needs no introduction whatsoever. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands up for Vikas Khanna. And as you know, he wears many hats. He is not only a Michelin star chef, but he's also a filmmaker and as well as an author. So I've sent a request to Vikas. He should be with us any minute now. And he is, I think so. Yes. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? I'm just so pleased I get a chance to speak to you. I've been wanting to for so many years. So chalo, lockdown mein kuch to acha nikla.
Likewise. Hi.
And many congratulations. Feed India, nearly 30 billion meals. You've crossed that. And approaching 50 million. As I said, many congratulations. So what was that one? Yeah, that's what I've been told. मुझे आया था कि बस 50 million approach हो रहा है हमारा in the, but it's commendable what you have done with Feed India. So what made you start this initiative? There might have been one catalyst or something.
Being a chef for more than 30 years, the one thing which drives you crazy is the unbalanced hunger in the world. Hunger is very unbalanced. एक मिनट, मेरा oven on है. I need to turn off my oven. Sorry. Shit.
No worry. तो व्यू तो अच्छा लग रहा था हमें.
हाँ?
व्यू अच्छा लग रहा था.
So that thing has always driven me crazy about how unbalanced hunger is in the world. It could be any part of the world, but hunger is something which is very unbalanced, and that sometimes gets me very emotional. And when I was seeing that during this lockdown, the country is going to face a lot of challenges, and we knew it that hunger is going to be one of the things.
So how have you gone about this initiative? It might have been very difficult because you're in in the United States and you're India, but you've been feeding everybody globally. So how does it work?
Phone calls, WhatsApp. We had to totally change my sleeping pattern. My sleeping had totally changed. You can tell now. I was up, and this is how it works. This is how. There was no other way to make this work.
So what has been your biggest learning in this pandemic vis-a-vis the hospitality industry? Because every industry has taken a beating.
I opened a new restaurant on August 14th. And I think that, we always keep talking about this cycle coming back to life. But I also understand that, you have to be, as a leader of the industry, you have to be the positive person. The only way we can break the cycle, which I call it right now, it's a human curse, what's happening to us, is that we constantly create more opportunities for others. That's the only way things get back to normal. Even if you look at the history of the pandemics before, the Spanish flu or black fever, this was always the case, that people who actually got their country back were the ones who were actually the most enterprising, who started being very optimistic about the vision. And yes, I finished 3 books during this time, because I also know when I'm doing a book, it's also creating a lot of jobs. It's also helping a lot of people in the line, and also it's distracting people from the reality, what's going on in the world right now.
So could you tell us a bit about these books? Because it's just amazing. I want to know, how do you wear so many hats? You are a chef, you're a filmmaker, you're a writer. I mean, how do you do it?
मैं सिर्फ काम पे फोकस करता हूँ. I don't get distracted. If there's a mission, there's a mission. There is no excuse in work. There is no excuse. And I do feel that some days that how do I wear hats, so many hats? मैं काफी disciplined हूँ actually. If you look at the way I work, also my workstations are extremely disciplined. But मेरे को ये भी problem आती है बहुत ज़्यादा काम की, कि I have to do one project at a time. I have to be very clear that when I'm doing a project, it has to be one project at a time. वो मेरे लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है, because it has to be done right. Otherwise, you don't have to pick up so many projects. If you're doing a restaurant, it has to be the caliber of Michelin star. If you're doing events, caterings, books, movies, documentaries, it has to be in that top. Sorry, मेरा सुबह का दिन, this is like, now this is going to be my midnight too.
Oh, my God, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. But I mean, coming back to Feed India also, I mean, how do you devise the menu? Because it's globally you're catering to people. And what thought has gone in? Because I'm sure you've kept in mind that it needs to be nutritive and give the basic, nutrition value also to people.
मुझे लगता है कि the one value which you thought was necessary is that we were learning as we were moving forward.
G.
We were all the time moving forward. I was learning myself because I had no idea what was going on. I'll be honest with you. So the places which had the provision to cook, we had to give them dry ration. That was one of the most important things. कि जिनके पास provision है, like orphanages, old age homes, leprosy center, abandoned. There were so many abandoned people's homes, which were just people, and there were quarantine villages, which people were going back to their villages and they were being quarantined. And उन जगहों पे we felt that we can have just dry ration. And then there was another part of this where we had people who were in transit, like people who were a lot of workers who were on the highways, and we had people who were in the stations and on the streets outside hospitals. So we said the only thing which will work here is cooked meals. So these things we were learning as we were moving. So the gas stations, at one time we had so many gas stations in Maharashtra, UP and Bihar, where they were serving food at the gas stations. Now we cannot serve dry goods there, but we also had the provision that when people are stopping to have a meal, they also had an option of getting small bags of ration. इसमें सिर्फ चावल और दाल mixed थे, like a khichdi type they can make. And second thing was they could get sanitary pads, and later we started with slippers. So we started doing, so it kept adding on. It was not just food.
It's amazing. It's just very commendable what you've done because there's so much
It's a
of
miracle of
negativity
how,
around us.
it's totally a miracle. मेरे को तभी believe नहीं हो रहा कि what we were doing. Even just now, we received so many images of we have this big food drives going on. Every morning for me is like, oh my God, it worked. Like people got food. There were food at home of people who were struggling at that time. मेरे लिए वो बहुत जरूरी था.
हमें कितनी दुआएं आपके लिए आ भी रही हैं. दैट्स व्हाई मैंने कहा ना 50 मिलियन वैसे दूर नहीं है, 30 मिलियन प्लस तो हो ही गया है. And it's just amazing because in these 5 months one has been wanting good Samaritans like you because there's so much of negativity. How have you dealt with it? I know you've written 3 books and you're away from India. People are overwhelmed. How has it been for you personally?
So because my timelines are very crazy, it's not like normal chef. It's really mad because I have to, what you said, I have to wear too many hats. So everything I do has to be much planned in advance. We are working on projects for 2025. So it means that you have to be planned. If it's a movie coming out or a documentary or a series or anything which I'm writing, पर उसके लिए सिर्फ एक ही चीज होती है कि you have to put your blinders on sometimes. Because it's very easy to get distracted and to be negative, and I do that too, but I've learned how to come back very fast. Because I have to be on the back track, because I feel that every day I also live with the privilege but also with the guilt that where I come from to where I am right now, it's absolutely privilege. It doesn't happen to many people, and it's once in a rare in a chance that this happens to get this kind of platforms and this kind of voice. And I think that drives me. What you're saying is that drives me.
Awesome. And also it's amazing. Your story is also very amazing from where you started and where you are. बहुत लोग इंस्पायर कर रहे हैं. फिलहाल बहुत सोचते हैं कि वो अपने सपने साकार नहीं कर पाएंगे. कोइयों को ये लगता है कि फ्यूचर में अनसर्टेनिटी है, कहाँ जाएंगे. आप क्या एडवाइस देना चाहोगे लोगों को? बिकॉज बहुत अनसर्टेनिटी है.
अभी तो अनसर्टेनिटी है कुछ चीज पे कमेंट करने के लिए भी. हम लोगों को लग रहा है कि द पेंडेमिक इज ओवर in a few weeks or days. हमको हर रोज लगता है. We wish that this would have never happened, but as we are going through it, most of us are together in this, and all of us are together in this. And I feel that staying positive, and it's a good time. One thing you cannot get back is in my humble experience of life is one thing which is irreversible is time. You cannot get back. If you wasted a day, that day you can do anything, you can't earn that day back. And I feel that now, after experiencing some dark parts of my life, I feel that there are two things you can never get back. So you've got to honor them the most: parents and time. Anything you lose in time, there's no replacement of that, and there's no replacement of parents. बाकी तो सब कुछ कमाया जाता है. Friends come and go, success comes and goes, failures comes and go, but these two things are totally irreplaceable in life.
So
So don't waste
beautiful.
time. Hone a skill, learn something, write something. You'll be surprised at how this little idea develops into something major. At this time, there's so much of pain and hurt in us. Do not waste that, because that could be an opportunity for you to do something magnificent.
Awesome. What you said is so beautiful. We take time for granted and we take our parents for granted, which is so
बाकी
true.
तो सब कुछ नकली दिखता है life में. Like, you've gone through so many ups and downs, you feel that, sometimes you were set up for failures by the people you knew, and so you feel that whom do you trust. And to be on such a global platform where you're under a microscope all the time, about even if any dish which will come out of my kitchen, they will be judged about, this definitions what you're creating with food. Though I want to stay very connected to traditions, but I also need to create new forms. So that needs a very sattvic energy. I don't know if that word is clear, but मुझे लगता है कि sattvic energy काफी होती है, जिसमें one most important thing is forgiveness. You need to put an expiration date on forgiveness. You need to put expiration date on pain. You need to say, okay, this was extreme betrayal. I need to put an expiration date on it, otherwise I can't move on. So वो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ बहुत लोगों से, मेरे साथ जो काम भी करते हैं, let's put an expiry date on blaming people for our failures. let's find something new and do it.
True. आपसे ये सवाल करना चाहती थी, has your relationship with food changed vis-a-vis the pandemic, and and you've also been
कुछ
feeding
तो हुआ है
people.
मुझे, I'm sensitive to energies around me, and कुछ तो हुआ है. Something has happened to me which I feel के oh God, and देखा नहीं मेरा फूल नीचे गिरा हुआ.
Oh,
Sorry.
right.
my little problems. I just feel that something has happened which has broken all of us. This isolation and this what we have experienced in the last few months, it has changed something inside us, and I feel that, of course, it's changed and it's happened to us in a very sudden way. The entire world is captured in this. So a part of us says that. We might never experience this pain again, and I hope we never do that. And imagine that I'm sitting so far, and my mom is in Amritsar. We do video calls, but this is the first time that I feel that I don't have the privilege of just hopping onto the flight and going and seeing her for lunch. Things I would take for granted, or so much actually. I have never started a project in my life before going to the Golden Temple. I have never started a restaurant where a mom was not the first guest. Never done that. I've never started a catering company or a business. My mother has to be the first guest, regardless of whatever caliber of the. And I've flown her to some places, and we've delayed some projects because she's a very busy person. She lives in Amritsar. She has a lot of kitty parties, big circle of friends. So I don't disturb her ever. So I always have to give her a timeline, Mama, and she's like, "Oh, I'm very busy right now." I'm okay. We delay. Rents are going on. Everything is going on. Everybody's hired. We are gonna delay the project by 3 months, Mom. It's okay. Perfectly fine. It's like, but this is the first time you realize that I took those things for granted. And this time when the restaurant opened, all the prayers, everything happened on the Zoom calls, and that was hurting me also. At how much you take for granted in life.
This is true. अमृतसर की बात की, अमृतसर से वहाँ का सबसे आपको कौन सा खाना डिश याद आती है कि मुंह में पानी आ जाए?
मैं मुंह में पानी आ जाए तो नहीं है, आंखों में आंसू आ जाए. मुझे एक डिश पता है कि कड़ा प्रसाद is something which is
Awesome.
Imagine
Nothing
you
beats
have
Kadha Prasad.
you have all the privileges in the world. In the first world, you have all the privileges, but your heart breaks for something. Or your heart breaks for something so simple in life. And I think Bobby, I took it for granted because every time you went back, it was there. It was there for you. It was all the time. It was there. And how much we take things for granted. Of course, Amritsar is a city of specialization, that we have to specialize, and people sell one dish in one store, which is just quite amazing. And I think Makbul Road wale kulche, and I just need to go back to India and see how much I take it for granted that all it was like, okay, guys, book me right now. Okay, we don't have a flight. We're gonna put you whatever. No, I have to be in India by tonight. I just can't happen right now. Just like it's impossible. And I think this had this. If I was in India, I probably feel that I could have done Feed India a much better job because I was more in touch with people. In America, we have a much smaller team as compared to in India, but we still did an amazing job. And I think that good learning right now for everyone. Everyone, privileged or underprivileged doesn't matter right now. Everybody has figured out that how vulnerable we are as humans.
और यहाँ आज वैसे सुबह कड़ा प्रसाद बना था घर में. I'm going to have it for you now. मैंने सुबह से avoid किया है. So I should have had my katori with me.
That's also interesting. When Elora was opening, a lot of my friends were not friends, relatives were sending me pictures that they were doing little puja at home. It was so heartwarming for me. They said, "Chef, you must do this right now. हमको एक पूजा है हमारी." Sorry, I'm testing recipes also, and it's like so. This is the timelines which are very difficult for me right now because we don't have big teams to work. Generally, in my house, we'll have all the people helping me when we are doing this kind of projects. But right now, I learned how to be totally independent and do this whole thing. I did not know how to get into this life because I don't do much. But मुझे पता नहीं था करते कैसे हैं because you always had people to do this basic things. I'm a failure.
But I mean, it's been amazing. I know you have a busy day ahead of you. It's morning. हमारी तो शाम हो गई है. जाते जाते अपनी ये 3 किताबें जो आपने लिखी है इसके बारे में बता दो. और या कोई आप फिल्म भी कर रहे हो? Any plans?
So
Because you're not someone who
yeah.
keeps still.
We have a major movie coming out next year. Major movie, one of my biggest projects ever, and it's in post production. We did shoot a movie during quarantine in America.
Wow.
It's an American story. Yeah, we did shoot a movie. I wrote, directed, produced everything. And the book which I'm writing, there's a which book which we're going to announce on Thursday. It's a book which is one of the close. It'll always be closest to our hearts. That how did a single tweet and single vision and single determination of one person, who's a common man, how did he figure out to feed more than 30 million people? Like this was an equation for me, and I want this next generation to see that during this, if ever we are thinking about crisis, we should also think that sitting 8,000 miles away, you could figure out the equation. It was only based on one thing, and that was devotion. I was devoted as a promise to my mother that I'm going to do my best, and I've never done anything half-heartedly. And then we have books which are the cooking books, and one novel which is novel we'll be ready to announce a novel when I come to India, and it's novel which is based on the movie which comes out next year.
Wow, interesting. All the very best. Busy day ahead of you. Thank you so much. And lovely chatting with you. I'll have the Kara Prasad for you now.
Hi, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.